Oh, Lord. Okay. Today we have an echo. Okay. So today we are going to be doing our regular reviewing and going over what everyone has been blessed to do and accomplish and the work that you've been doing this week. I know everyone has been busy. We have a lot of stuff to do. But like Brother Shabbat always said, it's better to be busy with righteous work than to, be doing foolishness. So we are thankful that we are blessed to have good and righteous things to do with our family, with one another, and as a community. So this week's jewel is justice. And justice is defined as the balanced reward and recompense for conscious or unconscious efforts of energy exerted towards a cause. And so we want to talk about balance today. And we're blessed because there's so many things that we want to do and so many things that we want to accomplish together that we really have to talk about how we can ensure that we are balanced. How can we ensure that we uh, give justice to everyone in our midst and how we can do that in better and better ways. And so first and foremost, we want to get some reports from everyone. Answer one was the first person on the line. So we'll ask the answer if you can share with us how this week has been for you, any of the accomplishments you've been blessed to achieve, and how all of us on the line can support you in those accomplishments. We'll have the line two, answer one.
Yes, ma'am. Greetings, family. As far as our week, it's been a lot of beautiful progress as far as the posting. That's one thing that we've been striving to keep up on. One thing that has been great is, like we said, we got a really good idea of a lot of the people we're reaching. So we've been doing some more research on how to reach more people. We had an interview last week, I think, through Hess, through
Right.
it's a guy, white guy named Caden. Had a pretty good interview. That particular interview should come out next week. She said next week,
Okay.
Friday. But really good interview. Not only did we speak about the music that we're doing, but also, just a lot of pushing BUCU. So, we were doing a lot of just telling them about what we're doing and the event that's coming up in September. And then
Yes.
also preparing. We've been doing a little bit of preparation. We may be able to go to an open mic in Richmond this Sunday. And
Okay.
so that's another opportunity for the Buku family to perform. And so, we spoke about that also yesterday. Have a bit of a list of a couple of these songs that we would like to perform. We're trying to figure out different ways to be able to rehearse and see each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
These events have been like really good practice, but of course, we're looking forward towards like more paid venues where we all can perform together at a paid venue, and we're kind of getting closer to being able to do that. But
Yeah.
prayerfully through these open mics and just through these performances, we'll get to that point where we're getting paid to go ahead
Yeah.
and perform. We've been paid before, but you know get some more opportunities like that. But otherwise than that, everything else is going well. We just in the midst of the many projects that we all are doing as a family. We know that at least our family here with Buku, along with our Muslim family and Jay's Temple of Islam, we have a very big project that is going to be dropping very
Mhm.
soon. So I know we'll be very excited to show that to our Buku family.
Yes.
And other than that, when it comes to any music or anything like that, been collabing a little bit more, um, really learning a little bit more of the science of collabing with a lot of other people,
Mm.
how to successfully get it through. It's two people that we met through some of these open mics, which has been a great experience. When you go out to these places and you perform or you get to meet these new people. And it's two people we met that we wanted to get on our project. And they responded. They responded very positively. One person sent
Yeah.
back his verse, and he sounded really good. It's a young lady that is going to be sending me back her verse that she does. Um, and it's just all coming together really well. So, we're learning even better ways to network. You
Yeah.
know, even out in Sacramento, we've been finding these, unique spots, as we go out. One thing that we do on Sundays, we'll just walk, we'll just take a time to walk, and we'll have the flyers with
Yeah.
us. And that's a good opportunity to kind of give some of our people that's out here, what the program is about in BUCU. And I meet some pretty good people. It's somebody that I've invited. We'll see if he'll be able to make it. But it's a couple people that I met just giving flyers out.
Okay.
And they really, really enjoy seeing somebody black,
Yeah.
speaking to them about blackness out here.
Mm-hmm.
So you start, I'm of course seeing more of the importance of them seeing the presence,
Yeah.
of black people out here that are about
Mm-hmm.
blackness out here.
Yeah.
And through that, we've made some really good connections. And so prayerfully, as we're continuing to get to know Sacramento through all of these different walks, I found quite a few places
Yeah.
that have been very interesting just walking. We just continue to network. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's an artist named Hayla Vive. It looked like her whole musical content and catalog is based out here in Sacramento. So,
Okay.
we're trying to get some networking with her because, that'll link us in probably with many of the other musicians that are out here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah.
but it's been a beautiful journey, just continuing to network, continuing to kind of just get to know the area that we're in, and just really embracing our people with the fact that
Yeah.
we actually do have a program. Every time I speak
Mm-hmm.
to each person, we let them know these services are real.
Yeah.
These aren't just artists; these are nonprofits, real nonprofits that
True.
actually have these real services. So what I'm giving you is not just a proposition of something we want to start. This is something that's already been started with a
Yeah.
collective of different nonprofits. So, I think that a lot of people enjoy that. And that's something that we just, going to continue to do a little bit more networking, and then just stay up on our posting as
Yeah.
far as just, continuing to get the music out there about Buku. Because this is really just to let them know about the Buku program. Did we ever post the Buku mixer on YouTube?
Um, I have to check and see. I think so. I'll check and see.
Okay.
Maybe I uploaded it and didn't publish it. I'll look and
Okay.
see today. If I didn't publish it, I'll publish it today.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, because we want to share that because that was really great
Yeah.
information that we had in that. But yeah, that's one of some of the bigger things that we've been doing. I go back to the school or go back to training next week. So I'll be
Okay.
kind of back and forth doing some more of these trainings to get ready to go back to the school. But it's been good. It's been good to get a good idea of what more we can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my challenge.
Yes, sir. Sujata. Good teaching. Good teaching. Yes, it's really good getting out. I know we were talking at our board meeting today about just the benefit of our organization's address being in Oakland because of Oakland's history. Oakland just, saying Oakland rings bells. So that's something that really stands out. But we know that our people are everywhere. So many people from Oakland have moved up to Antioch and up to Sacramento. And so we know that as well. And that's pretty beneficial. for us to know that, Sacramento has the full, I think they call it Florence Square now, but it was called the African Marketplace. I think it's still run by them, but they changed the name of it probably because of all the DEI stuff. We wish they didn't do that, but regardless, that is a place with a bunch of Black-owned shops and booths, and they have a program every first Saturday, I believe. So, yeah, we want to tap into all of those markets wherever our people are. All right, so let's continue. We have our amazing brother Shabbat on the line. Brother Shabbat, if you can share with us how this week has been for you, any updates or milestones that you've been blessed to accomplish. I know we were supposed to meet last week. We're gonna have to make that up. I've been super duper busy with our J-month projects and then striving to get a hold on these grants. Uh, but yeah, I'm gonna try to get a day this week that we can meet so that we can progress in some of the paperwork that we have to do. But we have so many opportunities coming up, and I know that you've been working really, really hard. So we'll pass the line to Brother Shabbat to share with us how this week has been.
Salaam alaikum. Yes, I'm here.
Wa alaikum salam.
Says, if you can go to somebody else right now, and
Okay.
I'll come back a little later.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Okay,
Okay.
we see a Sister Francine on the line. Sister Francine, I know you've also been really busy and have been dealing with the schooling situation and your mother, and also preparing to partner with us for the BUCU event. So if you could share with us how this week has been for you, any milestones that you have accomplished and things that you've been learning, and how we all can support you in your efforts, we'll pass the line to Sister Francine.
Okay, so thank you. I won't be able to stay on too long today. I've been on a 3-hour workshop before
Oh,
this.
wow, okay.
So well, where I am now is everything's off to the attorney. So we missed the deadline for Friday to get the doctor's declaration in for the court because she had to get approval from her legal department, which I expected that they weren't going to let her sign a declaration without looking at the language. And so they approved it. They just made one little change, which is the clinic is merged with some universal hospital, whatever. They just added a name, a legal name to their clinic. And so yeah, she was very helpful when I couldn't get an appointment with her, but she had her staff ready when I got there at the clinic. They were expecting me, and they took the form on Monday, and they also wanted me to fill out a medical release. So to give her permission to release the declaration, she could sign it, but releasing it would be a HIPAA violation if I didn't give her permission because it has medical information. Some associated, even if it's in general, they still can't do that. So that was good on their part. And then my attorney prepared something called ex parte motion to say, we were sort of hampered by this process, and that was the only reason we were late, was because her legal unit had to give permission for the declaration. So she prepared that went off yet Monday, and also my other set of attorneys for the restraining order, they have also prepared that paperwork and have gone off with that. So they're adding to that the unlawful detainer is another form of harassment by my older brother who assaulted me at the hospital. So yeah, so they let me look at some of the language. I add a little bit, and then my workshop today was by a fellow he's ADHD, for better use of a word, because it's kind of generalized. They keep finding out nuances and stuff. So that provides a space for me to talk about and learn about things that I might do for my brain recovery. So it looks like things are pointing toward occupational therapy, not just for I'm sorry, somebody's on. Okay. Not just for my hand, where my left hand, where the muscle underneath my index fingers kind of has gone down. But based on what some of the other people were talking about, occupational therapy really is the place to work out rehab.
Okay.
And also people were saying, you know, that you might have had a brain trauma or some kind of something that made you uh, made you neurodiverse. But we don't, it's a mystery as to why we get these strokes, or, you know, what the divine is doing with that, because some of us notice that we have things that we couldn't do before, like gifts, you
Yeah.
know, and stuff. So that kind of got introduced into this space. So it's an ongoing conversation. It's interesting hearing how this one guy, who's, I think he's probably a genius, how he's getting around their language, and
Yeah.
he's getting around their language about it. He said, because then when you go, he mentioned today, he said, if I did everything that they told me to do, that would make me a white black man. And that was an interesting phrase. He said, a white black man. So we're speaking to the indoctrination, you know, their way of, a lot of their framework is based on making us into them. And so that was we do have to think outside the box, you know, because they put us in this box, and the good part about it is we do have an extensive history in our culture, and we have a lot of scientists, a lot of philosophers, artists, whatnot, medicine people, and they have left us and are still working on, you know, giving us medicine to right our mind, body, and spirit. So that's the good news, that we have a lot of resources to work from. And I did go and visit this psychedelic church that I'd been wanting to check out what their practices are. And so I'm learning. It's a place for me to learn about the herbs. It's not just psychedelics. They are looking at plant medicine as pretty sacred in general, that it's it's kind of has the effect of, it may do one thing, but they notice that people are reporting that they sometimes get other things healed aside from what the other plant does, that there's some sort of intelligence in the mushrooms. And they were focusing a lot on mushrooms, but there are different people that branched out and studied herbology in the community and studied some other sciences, and some of them are scientists. And so it felt good to be in their space. It was just an open conversation about, one lady came on, I was surprised. She actually gave a half-hour talk on community, the importance of community. And she used a metaphor of a carpet, you know, like weaving a carpet, and that we all have a thread, and we can all add to this strengthening the carpet by using our needle and thread, that we can we can strengthen the carpet by adding what we have to the community. And so I thought, so I actually made a contact with her, and she said that you know, she said that she'd like to support me, and, you know, whatever. And they talked about the importance of listening to people, you know, having listening skills. So I found some threads of, you know, indigenous practice there. And but that was good to pick up a friend. And that was my idea, was to create more community, because that's what I could hear the divine saying. Don't isolate, create more community for yourself. And it was a light space. I mean, these people are really interested in balancing their health. Some of them, I went to a offshoot meeting last night that had to do with people talking about recovery, but they said they noticed, you know, that they wanted to create a space for people that had their own idea of faith, or you know, they were discovering, coming into their own experience of faith, or relationship with something that was like a God. Some people say God, or Christianity, or whatever. And they just wanted to encourage people to be able to speak that out and not be shut down, because I mean, we have, we may be shown an example of faith, but then it is important that we have those personal experiences, and our stories about that are really important, because that is the real thing. You know, what we're experiencing, if we are experiencing miracles or shifts in our health or spirit, you know, that's taking us to a place of balance. We need to speak that out, and not just like be afraid to you know, we got to hide that, or and stuff. So I thought it was a healthy space. Some people didn't. One lady had a history of alcohol in her family, and she was saying she wasn't afraid of alcohol anymore, and that once in a while she would go back to it. It was a place of non-judgment, so I just listened, and I just put my judgment aside. I don't know what the whole of that is about, but I said, well, I don't want to be ignorant. I said, so I got that big book in order to read it, because the stories are what people were having spiritual experiences. And they noticed that that's how they got the grace to have recovery. Those two original people, Dr. Bob and Bill, they got on their knees and prayed for help. And I said, so my view on that is that the divine blessed them. You know, they were making an effort, blessed them, and then blessed their story. But the story was so full of grace that just upon the telling of it to other people, they were getting recovery. So our stories are really important. They're powerful. They can, you know, I don't know if we mustn't underestimate the grace that the divine can overshadow our stories, you know, so that when we tell them to other people, that we are kind of like feeding them. You know, we don't get fed with just you know, dogma. We have experiences, and those experiences carry a spark of the divine, and that's what people are getting faith from. And they need that. They need us to have courage to tell the story, a safe space to do that, because it's a process. I didn't have faith right away as a young girl. I just had this idea that from my parents, that you have to have a personal relationship with the divine. Whatever you do, or whatever faith you may choose, at the end of the day, you'll be judged for that personal relationship. And that you must foster throughout your life. That is what will that I don't, you know, but yes, that is something that seems to move through everything, you know, and the personal relationship with the divine. So I was happy to be in a place to see people were growing and having you know, trial and errors, and that their goal was balance. So that's the 42 sayings of Ma'at. The first saying is to know yourself. You know, but that's to know yourself as a divine child.
That's
you know,
true.
and that's really important, that we carry the seeds of grace in us, and that we need the divine or some intervention to like activate those seeds. And that's why the food, you know, we call it food, being in a space with people. And I spoke about that, being in a space of people with a good vibration that can lift your spirit and raise your cause toward being balanced, and also your purpose. So people were beginning to talk about that too. They were curious about, you know, how do you find your purpose, and how do you know how do you know you're in your purpose? So you know, that is, what can I say? That's an ongoing conversation, because what I've experienced is I choose something that I'm attracted to, but then later I noticed that it could be blessed by grace, you know, confirmed, or I don't know how to say it, but something of a divine spirit comes along and blesses my work, and then I know it's more than just me choosing it, but that I was inspired the whole time. So I was working today on my little Let's show you what it is. Oh, okay. So I'm working today on the mini version. I did look at that website for that the lady, husband and wife that do the silk screening, but I got
Mm,
distracted by doing something else. So this is a mini
okay.
version of my larger version of that. This is the,
Okay.
so I'm playing around with different like styles of this. Eventually, I'm going to do something of a I like working with glass because people can see what's in it. It's
Yeah.
the same as when my in my practice is sort of transparent. I like people to know what they're doing. Some people do an intention for
Mm,
or with the person, but I like it to be spoken out loud. So there's no it clearly this is your intention that we're doing, and we're not,
yeah.
I'm not, there's no secret intention as to why you're doing this session. I think that's important to have trust with the person you're working on, and whatever. I did yoga therapy with this lady, and she said I honor whatever the person's faith tradition, whatever, if they want to pray for something, she goes, I encourage them to do that before we start the practice. And I thought that was pretty good of her to do that. Mother Teresa of Calcutta was a Catholic nun that they, um, I don't know if she's a saint or not, but they thought she was a saint, and that was how she worked. She said
Mm,
if a Hindu is dying, I go and get a Hindu priest to help him die. If it's a
yeah.
Muslim, I go and get a Muslim
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
minister to come and help them ease
Mm-hmm.
their passing. Whichever way. She said people deserve to die peacefully.
Yeah.
Well, not just die, but she also helped people that were sick and to live.
Yeah.
But that was one of the big works she did. She had a little apartment, and she used her own money and donations, and she just started taking people who were very ill into her own apartment and taking care of them. She'd go out into the streets of Calcutta, and that's what she did. That was
Mm,
a quite courageous work. Um,
yeah.
so that's what I'm working on now, and there's a group that does nonprofit group that does publishing. So I want to I've started collecting my poetry. A number of things are printed back at my mother's house, but I don't have access to that right now. So
Okay.
first things first, I have to let these attorneys do what they do, and then we'll move
Yeah.
on to get access to my things so I can begin to publish. So I thought I would go ahead, and it's in my backyard or my front yard. Let those people help me publish my first poetry book and see how that goes.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. That's excellent. We love the product that you're making, and we look forward to, the culmination of all of the beautiful works and knowledge that you're receiving. And you really should host a class because you have such a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that people need to know. It needs to get passed down. So yeah.
yeah, and I got the idea from Sister on Africa about the red
Okay.
light for the brain,
Okay.
that it helps repair nerves. And
Mm.
there's quite a few products out there. There was one I thought, well, it was about $400, a little expensive, but it had Velcro where you could just shape it to the person's head, and and just for 20 minutes once or twice a day to help with that. So I'm praying things get lifted so I can get that to my mom.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Thank you, Sister Francine.
You're welcome.
That is excellent. We love hearing about all of that great stuff. We look forward to the event so that we can see each other and, present all of that to the people, and purchase one of our glass bottles because I want one of those now.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Um,
Yeah, it has I from some people, I bought this, I'll show it to you. I think they call it selenite or something. It's white, this white
okay.
crystal, but it's a charging crystal.
Mm,
And when it came, I noticed it was warm, and the longer I held it, it got hot. And I
oh,
I
wow.
contacted these people. I said, "What have you done to create that?" It has a tree of life symbol on it.
Okay.
They did it in copper. Copper conducts energy, and then they put
Mhm.
these different colored crystals on there. So what they said is, this was interesting. They put the crystal in a natural stream for like 24 hours. So this is amazing. The polarity in that stream charged this crystal.
Oh,
And
wow.
and I've had this for over a year and it's still there.
Wow.
So nature is incredible.
Very
Does
powerful.
incredible
Yeah.
things. So this is why the ancients, they brought nature into their house. They brought flowers, plants, and different stones and things like that, because they brought energy, and that
Yeah.
energy was just a part of nature. There's no sorcery in that. It
Mhm.
was a God-given
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
object, I don't want to say object, but a God-given a life form that God put here already for us to use to
Yeah.
help.
Yep. And then you think about, like, the way the world is advancing, and then the creation of data centers and things like that. And what these things do is strip from the planet in order to advance technology, when God has already given us tools that can power our planet, can power the advancement of technology.
That's
But
right.
that knowledge hasn't been passed on to those who, aren't supposed to be
Yeah.
the powers
Like
that
like
be on the earth.
yeah, like lilies. They said lilies, if you plant them along the water, lilies will purify the water. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So all these places they did fracking and stuff like that, if they would find natural plants to restore the water,
Yeah.
that's really the only way they're going to do it, is through nature,
That's it.
not by another chemical, that because they already did that.
Yeah. Yeah. All of that's some foolishness.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you,
that's
Sis
right.
Francine. All right. Brother Shabbat, are you ready now, Brother Shabbat? Or should I go to answer demise? Brother Shabbat might still be busy working. So if so, we're going to go to answer demise. Answer demise, if you could share with us how this week has been for you, any milestones that you've been blessed to accomplish this week. I know that we have to talk about the website and a few things for the security. You all were purchasing insurance. So you can tell us about that and how all of us can support you in your efforts. We'll pass the line to answer demise.
Yes, peace, family. How's everybody doing?
We are doing good. How are you?
Good. We're still here. We blessed and we got no complaints. A lot watch over us.
That's
And
right.
everything else is negotiable, on a real level. We we don't got a lot today to really present, but things are as they say, things are getting really exciting around here.
Yeah.
You know, we all want to say we anxious because we really aren't, because everything happens in God's time, and so we are having patience to a large degree, and at the same time taking our vitamins mentally and spiritually, because we know that this is the opportunity for us to really get going and be able to start sticking and moving. And the thing about that is that we know that Allah wants to bless us with business. So the more business we do, the busier we'll be. But we not getting to a point where we resting and we chilling, we kicking it. We ain't trying to go drink drinks on the beach with umbrellas in it. So we're really trying to get out here in these streets and hire our people and make sure that 6%, because they say 6% of the Black population is unemployed. So, we look at the glass, half full. We got 93% of us is really working up out here. You know what I'm saying? So we want to go out and help the 6% that's not, because we know that there's some demons out here, some real demonic minds out here, and they are interested in destroying our brightest and our best. They wondering why all the brothers, man, they keep getting with it. And some of these brothers, man, we got to watch where we go. We like romancing the stone so much, we don't realize that, it's volcano rocks falling around us while we doing it. And so we seem to be real interested in other races of people to hang out with a lot. So, and it's not saying that people can't be your friend. It's just a time in life where we really need to come together, as we told, come together right now over here. So we own that one. We really trying to come together and bring our people with us at the same time. And then as we do this, we want to be able to let our brothers and sisters know, well, you could get a business, bro, and get your business started. If you can't come work with your brother, we'll help you work, until you can get your own business. But be patient, because these some real devils. They going to try to stop you for no reason. And I don't want you to go crazy and lose your mind and become frustrated. Now you got to start drinking, you got to start smoking, you got to start doing drugs because the pressure of the world. So we don't want that. We want you to be able to see that success is obtainable even through the struggle. Even when somebody really intentionally are trying to hold you back, it's all right, because no matter what, at some point, they gonna get too weak to really hold you if you're struggling to break free. So we moving forward and free at the time. We want to make sure we get this website up and running. We're trying to get everything else paid off. We not we don't even know what to say about it. We not really waiting on nothing, just other than putting together like the last little things we need to be able to put a good presentation out there. Because technically we can work. If somebody just had something we would do, we could go do it. We could give you a security contract and just go do it. But as far as being a super professional, we need our patches, have our uniforms, be able to be out there, be uniformly looking displayed. That's just a few more little T's we need to cross and a few more I's we need to dot. But we reading through it, we proofreading it, and it's looking pretty good. And everybody that we let proofread it, they go through it and they like, oh, you didn't cross this T right here. Oh, thank you, appreciate it. So that's kind of like what we're doing right now. Other than that, we looking forward to the program. We are super Jews, and I thought the young brother was gonna get on, his brother Quincy, but what he said to me is that this time of day in their office is super duper. They work with all the homeless and all this stuff. So it's like he got appointments and he said he'd be trying to jump on. And he like, last time I tried to jump on, as soon as I push link, somebody hit me on the thing. I got to let them in. They buzz them in into the office. So preferably, if not today, then next week or something, I'm really trying to get him on so he can come on and speak to us about what he go through in helping people get housing. Because that's what he told me. He was like, yo, your son need an apartment. Yeah. He said, what we do is we'll get him a deposit, right? And we can help him out with the first month rent, or we could help him out with the first month's rent and like so much of rent for whatever amount of months. It was like he had a whole program of helping people basically financially get into places. They didn't find a place for you, but if you found a place and you got all your paperwork together, you brought it to them and they help you get money. So I know some of our people really need that. Hey, I need that. Y'all help me get up in this spot, So I don't think no matter what it is, none of us are too far above needing some assistance in life, whatever that is from God, whether that's physical, whether that's mental, whether that's spiritual. It's something that we all do need that God, can help us out with. And he uses your brother and your sister, to help you. So sometimes when it seemed like, man, I can't turn to nobody. I don't got nobody, but you in a BUCU meeting, so you don't really got to turn to nobody. Allah has already placed you in a circle of helpers to help you as well as help others, for you to help others and those others to help others. And then we play like that commercial. And we'll tell two friends, and then two friends will tell two friends, and two friends will tell two friends, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So it's kind of like where we at. We appreciate BUCU. For real. Good job, Lou.
Is that with who? Sister Real, you muted.
1,000 pardons. Okay, yes, that sounds really good. We'll get together regarding the website and how we can accomplish that. I think the only thing we'll need to do is purchase hosting. But once we purchase hosting, we can work out the cost for actually maintaining and building the site together. But yeah, that sounds really good. And like you said, once we get the ball rolling, then it's rolling, and there's a rhythm to that we pray leads to success. As long as the foundation is solid, and so that's why get the insurance, get all the licensing, get everything that you need, so that your foundation is solid, and then you build on top of that.
Sister Yadi, email you?
Yeah, she texted me.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, then you got the best of the best. You know, I keep telling y'all, if y'all communicating, the world is moving. You know,
That's right.
brother here just to, help you out. I felt like I'm just here to throw the coal into the fire of the train. You know, I'm not here to conduct the train or to make the train move. I'm just here to assist. Like, yeah, throw that coal in that fire. I got you. You need more? Nah, just sit over there, brother. We moving now. So, that's how it go. We got the mothers of civilization is what it's saying. When you got the mother of civilization with you, man, I keep telling them, if you can't accomplish something with a black woman on your side, in front of you, behind you, around you, even thinking for you, thinking about you, praying for you, then yeah, God don't really want you moving. So, that's just how that go. Sajalahu.
Yes, Sajalahu. Good teaching. Good teaching. Thank you, Answer Demise. Okay, we see our Brother Shabbat is ready, so we'll pass Brother Shabbat the line to give us an update on Quest for Success and Off the Line Productions and all of the busy work you've been doing.
Assalamu alaikum. Before
Wa
I go
alaikum
on,
salam.
I have a quick question for the brother Demise. Hey, do you have by any chance input with somebody that can get paperwork on what CDCR require of a nonprofit to have people come into their transitioning housing unit? Because I have a project on the table, but I need the paperwork so I could fill it out and submit it the right way. So if you know anyone that could connect me to that, I would highly appreciate it.
To who?
CDCR, the prison system, to have their people coming, your people coming home, coming to a transitioning housing that's a nonprofit, like most all prison transitioning housings are, but it's certain paperwork that's needed, and I need to find out what those paperworks are. And I only know of some of them. I need to know someone that can put me in contact with someone that can contact me or lead me the right way of getting the paperwork that need to be submitted.
Somebody that already has a transitional housing to explain the situation. Yeah, we as Africa, and we do know a couple of people that already have transitional housing. Let me work on seeing about getting their information to call them or have them call me back, and we'll ask.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's probably doable as far as, fortunately, a lot of times people be hating. They don't really want you to get going, what they doing, because they feel like it's a fight, for funding at the end of the road. But, it's just crazy to me because it's like a forest fire, and fools is arguing about we shouldn't have this many fire departments. You know what I mean? And so you try to open up a fire department to put out fires over there, and people be like, well, I don't know if I should help them open the fire department, because then they might not fund my fire department. But when the fire start, you be calling, where's Shabbat? Where's Brother Shabbat, man? Yeah, well, brother, when Brother Shabbat was trying to get the fire department opened over here, you was hating. And so that made it a problem, but that's all right, because God made sure that he got to open it. So here he come with the fire truck, and then they be mad. It's okay, though. They'll hate, they'll hate the fruit off a tree, but they sure be hungry and want to eat, so it's good, brother. We gonna work on it for self.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one more thing. Sister Francine spoke on some things about the copper and the thread in the blanket. I just want to speak on that real fast. The spread in the blanket, because it's closer than the copper. That's what I want to. The thread come from mothers and grandmothers and fathers and all of that, mainly the queens, grandmothers, 'cause the grandfathers and them wasn't doing no sewing no blankets. But remember all the blankets back in the days when they was piecing together quilts? Then those
Yeah.
quilts was messy passed around. And that's what the and that's where that kind of, I believe, comes from. So that's a beautiful
Mm.
thing that that brought people to and bring that message to that match. As well as the copper call with that man, where all our containers and bowls and cookware was mainly out of copper. And that's why the earth was so green back then, because before all the copper and stuff was being taken, minerals was being taken out of the earth. The copper is a mechanism for energy and light force. That's just like if you wrap a stick with copper wire and stick it in your garden, it'll bring more energy and fuel and help your garden and your fruits and vegetables or whatever your trees grow,
Yeah.
because it's inductor. And it's one of the things they teach in aeroponic and hydroponic, because you don't necessarily want to use soil all the time, but when you use it, you still want to be conducting from the air natural energy, because of the chemicals that they didn't put in the soil has poisoned the soil so much, and the copper help cleanse it while giving your plants energy and everything still.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say that. So thank you for giving us that refresher course on that, Sister Francine. And for success, I was on a phone earlier with my son, trying to catch up with my nephew about some more apparel gear, and hopefully he'll be calling me back soon. And just busy, busy, busy. It's been a lot of paperwork, so I haven't been doing too much moving about events,
Yeah.
because there's quite a few events coming up, and I was offered a couple of requests to be on a couple of panels. One about I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's about rebuilding Oakland and what we need and how to do what we, me and you, sis, we've been talking about the vacant lots and all of that. What
Yeah.
BUCU is doing, not just us, what BUCU is talking about doing and what we
Mm.
towards. So I sent in a light bio of myself, and for when she do the flyer, everything be up. Hopefully, and I think it's on within October sometime. I got to look back at the message email that was sent to me, but that's
Okay.
pretty much what I've been on, and it's my job I work for. We've been doing a lot of state tests. Every year we have to do a whole bunch of HIPAA tests and
Yeah.
harassment tests and all that, because we're public officials working for the city under the nonprofits, housing and feeding and peoples like that. And so we must be able to pass those tests and know exactly how to deal with people that's who they consider less fortunate or throwaways. They just changed the name to
Mm.
unhoused now, instead of homeless. They're unhoused and
Yeah.
mental strive. So everything that's BUCU is doing, the city is doing, and they want to take all the credit for. But other organizations like BUCU and the family of BUCU and other individuals are doing. We're not being given the credit, but we're not doing it to have the credit anyway. We're doing
Yeah.
it because what Allah chose us to do. So
That's
as long
right.
as we accept that understanding and continue moving forward, He's gonna continue blessing us to bless others. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I've been for the past month, real deep in some things. Certain things I've been kind of lightweight holding back because I don't want to speak it. I want it to come into existence. Allah let
Yeah.
me do it, and I'd rather show it than say it. You know, but
Yeah.
other than I'm blessed and good and glad to be here. Last time I was here, my phone was kind of going in and out. So now
Mm-hmm.
it seems to be okay right now. But I had to earlier. I had to put you on hold myself because I had somebody in my apartment fixing my ceiling fans and everything. I want to stay focused on that individual.
Yeah.
You know, instead of being distracted, didn't want nothing being dropped or picked up or anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I'm gonna pass the mic back to you. And assalamu alaikum to the family. Glad this and blessed to see you all.
Yes. Wa alaikum salam. Yes, that is excellent. We also wanted to connect with our joy. Prayerfully, we can have them as a partner at the event. I know last week we were talking about Fania Davis, and you said she's part of our joy. So that'd be great if we could connect with them for the BUCU event. And yeah, it's just really great righteous work going on. We understand what you mean when you say not speaking the things that are still in process, just waiting a while because you don't want to, speak before it's time. But we know that you're working and working hard, and we are just honored to be part of the journey.
Okay, yes, you said that we would like to have our joy a part of the event, September event. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when I get off, I'll call the young man that be holding the circle class that
Okay.
I be attended on every Monday, and I'll drop the word. Is there any particular thing you would like me to tell him? Send me a text, and that way I could relate the text to him to give to the founders in
Okay.
where she can bring some books, have a book signing there or whatever she want to do. Just whatever you want to put on the table, shoot me a text, and that way I'll be able to send him the text to give to them.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, we'll do that.
Yes.
Because the work that is going on in Oakland is it's pioneering, and it's really good for it to be happening, and we want it on a larger scale for people to see that this is happening, and it's happening in clusters all across the country, all across the world. We'll look at a little bit of that today because Pia Lumumba, he goes around to universities to talk to young people across Africa to invigorate them, to motivate them to stand up, to fight for their people, to fight for their countries, to reject colonial powers. And that's what we want to do with BUCU, is support all of those efforts. And so our joy is one of those organizations, and we want to have them there. And any organization that does work like that, we want to champion, to promote, to complement, support. We want to do all of that.
Yes, they our joy have had a group go to Ghana. They take a group to Ghana and a couple of other countries in Africa they have been to. They have a couple of more planned, but I believe sometime next year, if not one early late this year. I'm not exactly sure. I might end up being part of that one, depends on the timing and everything. Then they have a retreat. That's why the property is important. And
Yeah.
when me and you get together on the meeting, we have to do the paperwork. I have something else to put on the table that could be brought to the family later.
Okay.
I'll leave some time for someone else to speak and not overpower the floor for nothing when we can have another day to speak on what else I want to bring to the table.
Okay. Well, alaikum salam. Yes, thank you, Brother Shabbat. Yeah, that's excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. And so let's see, we see our beautiful and some of the Queen Khalifa on the line. And some of the Queen Khalifa, if you can share with us how this week has been for you, any updates on the work going on at 144,000 elect. I know that Princess is going to be hosting a program at 144,000 elect for the next 8 months, which just really shows the power of community and opening up the doors for community work. The lunch program, the mental health program is just really good to bring the community into a safe place. And 144,000 does that work. And then anything else that you're working on, or any organizational work, community work? I know you're into the music and you be online advocating for our people. And so we'll open the line for Answer of the Queen Khalifa to share with us how we can support you this week in all the work that you do. Good job, Alakli.
The Jada Lahu family and Assalamu alaikum. to the divine degree to crazy master plan.
The
Creator,
Salam to get the Christmas plan.
Yes, ma'am. Creator Allah Master Wallace from Muhammad, the glorious Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, never forgetting the divine works of our Lord and Savior, Holy Spirit of Truth, Allah Master J had for your particular self to be able to be a part of the mental health that we had last week, and you know you were able to sit in on that. Friday we had the live 3 to 5 at the 144,000 Elect Foundation, and that was just beautiful to be a part of. Since that had happened, it's just been so much since we were online for the janaza on the 4th of July because they found Nolan Wales' body on the 6th of July. So I've been sitting on some different panels for the past week that are really, you know, going in on the TikTok, and they have allowed my presence on there, and they let me speak so many different times coming from a perspective, because you get a lot of racial tension on there, a lot of races on there, and different things of that nature. But they had his funeral yesterday online, and it's just that it's like an injustice of what we see here, because the mother of one of the boys is a judge, her husband is a doctor, they're kin to the sheriff, and we know that the racial injustices in Mississippi of how all the different recent whatever of Black people, they rule it as a suicide. They don't even try to investigate it. It was one that was hung with his limbs missing, and they ruled it out as a suicide. So it's just been a lot of injustices, going on there, but it's pretty much the same everywhere. So I don't know what the deal is. It seemed like it's going to be some racial tension because they haven't arrested anyone. They're not really wanting to do anything, and it's just an injustice when it comes to the Black, because they're kind of comparing it to Carmelo Anthony, of how he got arrested so quick when he was defending himself amongst the white, the white boys. So it's just really sad how the injustice applies to us when you really don't have the knowledge or the money, and it shouldn't take white privilege to be able to do anything you want to do on God green earth. So that's something that I've been involved in, sitting on the panel, discussing and sharing my views. There's been a lot of educated people on there, and I've been able to, hold my square on the panel with some of the best of them. So that's something I've been involved in just recently.
Yes, ma'am.
As well as continuing to update our website of the 144,000 Elect Foundation. So that's another project that I've been working on as well. I didn't get a chance to mention it last week when I spoke on there.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And that's also experience, because the website is one way. There's so many ways to get attention online now because of social media, but people still go to websites, especially other organizations. And so with that community work that 144 is doing, having that solid website presence is really great.
Yes, ma'am.
And we know the Nolan Wells case is a big case. And I've seen his mother receive some mail, and it's pictures of her crying. And there are disparaging messages on the back of the pictures. And so it just proves and shows the hatred that's out there for our community, and it emphasizes the importance of our unity, the importance of coming together, because she could be in danger, her family could be in danger, because people are so upset that she is not accepting just that he drowned, just that there's no foul play. Because she's not accepting that, they're so upset. They're like, hey, why don't you just accept what the police said?
Exactly.
And that's
and not just that, it's the point of being that she won't accept it. They want to hold on to the autopsy ruling because they had to do a private one. What's his name that did the kneeling? He sent out for the for another private one. So
he paid for it.
so they have their own, which is supposed to be revealed tomorrow from the NAACP. They're going to show you what their ruling is. But either way it goes, with all the evidence that they're putting together on the panel that I'm on, we know that he didn't drown. For one, he knew how to swim. And the white boys left him
star
there.
athlete. Yeah.
The white boys left him there. He spent the night with them. But then when you see America celebrating their 250 year, we know what America means to us. But why would you want to be kind of like the only black person out there? To me, it was like a ritual, because they didn't speak on where they popped the firecrackers, because I think they tied him up and just did all kind of stuff to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a lot, and it's pretty disturbing. And we know that it's important I understand why her family and why many people want to speak about this, because our people have been lulled to sleep by this idea of integration, by the desire to have proximity to whiteness. And our people still, and so many people, there's so many communities that are affected by this. In China, the proximity to whiteness makes them look down on darker skinned Oriental Asians, the same in India. And so everyone wants to aspire to whiteness, and it's too much power. You can see that power goes to the head. And then those white children are being indoctrinated with racism, especially at a heightened degree today. Young white youth are being targeted by racist organizations to get them into this way of thinking. And when you're so young, and all your life you've heard that Black people are the worst, Black people are lazy and stupid and can't swim and so dumb, then it could be something as simple as, y'all got drunk, y'all were peer pressuring him to drink more and drink more and drink more, and then you was joking, white people joke, push him in the water.
Yeah, you know how they do.
He can't survive, and instead of going to help him, you bolt away. And there's multiple cases where that is the exact story, where they didn't purposely kill this person, but they were neglectful. They left the person behind, and they know that could be a danger to their life. So that basically is purposely killing that person. So
yeah, but look, not just the thing behind Sister Ansel Muhammad. They had his wallet, his telephone, they had his keys to his car. They came back to the island, and being that they went straight to Mama Judge, we got the like the GPS of the boat. They went to and they went to Mama Judge, and they went and lawyered up. So when the next day, when the father and them went out looking for the body, the mama had the 360 ping in his phone. They sitting at a restaurant eating breakfast. And they said, well, why y'all not trying to help search? They said, y'all already think we did it. They lawyered up and haven't even really made any statements yet. And then the panel that I'm on, the title was speaking about the proximity to the white man. So that's why I kind of like just stayed there. And the panel had just started, and they it's a pretty good panel. You get a lot of different people. Somewhat bring tears to my eyes, and all I can kind of like, is just think about Nat Turner on mine. You don't really want to have to be violent like that, but Nat Turner was very, very, very smart. He could read, and he knew that Bible, and he took a couple of them scriptures from Revelation, and he was finna break out on the 4th of July, but he got sick. So they don't know about that Nat Turner had planned, because he knew he was going to catch them drinking and full of that swine, and could catch them off guard and come in their house at night and do what he needed to do. But he got sick. He wasn't able to do what he wanted to do. Yeah.
I think the emphasis that could help us to ease the mind is that our teachings teach us that the Savior will make it harder on us. And harden Pharaoh's heart, even in order to push us, to force us to his salvation. And that's what we see happening right now. You can't continue to lull yourself to sleep with this idea that America has this bright future when you see the things happening right now. And another thing is, if this country, how Babylon could have been saved, if this country taught their youth, taught their children, raised everyone up to know the atrocities that occurred in this country against Black people, and how much this country didn't give us anything. We fought for everything our people accomplished, we had to fight for. But if they showed and taught of those atrocities and taught the harm of those atrocities, you would see a much different group of white people in America. They wouldn't be so quick to be racist,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
so quick to be harmful. And so I just heard of something called the draft riots. It occurred in New York in 1863, when, because of during the federal conscription of the American Civil War, sparked by provision allowing wealthy men to avoid the draft by paying $300. And poor Irishmen were upset because they couldn't do that. So they went around and attacked Black people and killed thousands of Black people. Historians
Wow,
estimate that
1863?
1863. It's estimated that they killed 1,200 Black people, not because Black people did anything to them, but because they could not avoid being drafted in the Civil War. And this atrocity occurred in New York. Now, how many people have heard of that? How many Irish people, Irish Americans, have heard of that history and say, what can we do to ensure not only that that doesn't happen again, but we don't fall victim to this racism that says, look at what that puts Black people. Black people had homes and businesses. They were forced out, lynched, burned. So these are the things that America is now hiding. So we see the Trump administration, they're removing monuments of the things that happened to Black people in this country, the things that happened to Native Americans in this country, the genocide, the killing, the lynching. They say, we don't want this terrible view of America. Well, you are sealing your fate. That's what seals America's fate, because now your youth and your children are growing up and they're like, I just don't get it. Black people just complain a lot. Well, Black people aren't just complaining a lot. Hundreds and thousands and millions of our people were killed, enslaved, and that history still affects us to this day, but they don't know that. So it's an interesting world that we live in, but we know for our people, our people are asleep, and we see this lulling to sleep across the world. In South America, wherever you find Black people, you find this plot to ensure that we remain asleep, that we don't wake up, that we don't liberate, that we don't unite. P.L. Lumumba, in the video that we're going to play today, he speaks about the disunity in Africa. This is exactly the same what we're dealing in America. He says we are disunified, not because we can't unify simply, but because it is a plot. It is by design. It is an attack on our people to ensure that we can never come together. And that's the biggest thing that one of the things that BUCU is here to address is to remove all of these stumbling blocks to our unity, because we must unify in order to be successful. And if we unify, then we can train our children not only to know the history of this country, because it's important for our children to know about the draft riot, so that they don't think it's just sweet out here, and that our history, because you have young Black children who are like, Black people just complain. Black people are the worst people in this country. Black people do commit the most crime. Black people are this, Black people are that. And so when we talk about liberation, we really need to be talking about not committing crime and not killing your women. That's how some young Black people talk, because they've been indoctrinated by whiteness. So we have to teach them the true history, teach them about salvation, about unity, and about separation from people who have proven to be our open enemy. Open enemy, like on purpose, yes. Like they aren't hiding it at all. So yes, as Africa put in chat, Nat Turner suffered from being backstabbed and they tortured him. Never forget, absolutely. When I met the Honorable Rosa Parks, she told us that America was planning on erasing the history of their atrocities. Absolutely. That's what they're doing right now. Quite literally. If they were to be successful, which we know they won't be, in a few generations, there will be no talk of slavery. There will be no talk of the atrocities that occurred in this country, specifically the Black people, but let alone the Native Americans, let alone anything else, any other atrocities committed by this country. There will be no talk of that. It'll just be, look at all the great things white people have done for all of these ignorant, savage. Just that's how they'll want the history to be in the history books.
Salaam alaikum. It's Shabbat.
Well, like
It goes to the fact that it's a white person that had nothing to do with that. But get them to understand, or because they don't want to accept it, but understand what you're reaping, the rewards of your ancestors, the tortures that they done. So let's say a black man go out on the car and he say that's his car. Who car is it? They're gonna say that's my mother's car. But if he pass it down to his son, who car is it now? You still gonna say that's my mother's car. But if his son pass it to his son, you
breaking up, brother Shabbat.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes, I think so.
Just what I was saying, as it you pass down to one father to a son, from a son to another son, you would still they would still say, well, that's my mother's car, it was stolen from my mother. Well, what about all of the land and everything stolen to us, the sons and daughters of our ancestors, our mothers and fathers? So what's the difference? How can you say it's still yours, but we can't say it's still ours?
Yep.
You saying you didn't have nothing to do with that. Well, that young man didn't have nothing to do with your mama's car being taken. Why are you saying that's still your mom's car?
Yeah.
That's the understanding that we must push not only to our peoples to understand how they're trying to avoid what happened in the past, but get them to see you're not accepting what happened in the past, but you want to continue reaping the rewards of it. Where you start with an advantage over us that you never truly had. That's why your ancestors did what they done, because when you was in the Caucasus Mountain, we had already had universities. We had you out of the darkness. We taught you how to bathe, how to use oils and everything. Still right another day, white folks wonder, why do black folks use towels when they wash their body to scrub their body? They have kings and queens that they consider royalty bathe 3 times out of a lifetime of 30 to 60 years, because they always that water was a poison substance to their body. It strips the protected layer. And if bugs like lice and other bugs didn't live on your body, you wasn't royalty, because bugs don't even want to live on you. That's just manipulation of filth, accepting of filth. You refuse to cleanse yourself. Forgive me, I digress. I just want to put that on the table.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yep, that's true. That's absolutely true. And then Sister Francine said, I also found that the documents my mom put in place makes the property in Texas secure to me upon her death. It's not affected by her trust. A grant warranty deed is its own trust, and she did that before she created the trust. These documents are so important no matter what age we are, our children, or how old our children happen to be. That's true as well. And so we need to document how you do those things, and also the laws that have changed, because you have heirs property. The laws in regarding heirs property has changed so much over the years that it has opened the door and allowed for such gray areas that people's land and homes can be basically stolen from them. And so we need to not only inform people, because when these laws change, it's not like they go and they say, hey, Black people who don't have a lawyer and probably would never know this, hey, we just want to inform you that this law has changed. They don't do that. The law just changes quietly, and then people start quietly selling land, and people start quietly tricking you to sell your deed or sign off on your deed, and they can steal your land and your home. And that's happening across the country. And so that's something that we need to highlight and document as well, is how to protect our land and ensure that it can't be stolen from under us, and also educating our people, especially the youth, because the youth will never know these things. You don't know what you don't know, so you have to be taught. and it's nothing wrong with being taught, but we want to make sure that our people get that education and aren't left in the dark and then, open to being victims. Okay, and I think I saw someone else with their hand up for a split second. Was I answer demise or answer Africa? One of you.
That was them.
Okay, I've answered demise.
Permission to speak.
Yes, sir. Permission granted.
Yeah, we are living in a time that, unfortunately for some, that really, as we are taught that, a lot Yahweh Jehovah would harden the heart of Pharaoh and force us away from him, and what we are seeing is a position of that we keep, clinging on. We keep seeing, as you stated, like we see white people as this great thing. Brothers want to date a white girl. I don't know what they mama did to them, why you don't like their grandmama, why they auntie. And in the end process, after you want to run around with every white girl in the town and hang out with all the white people. I'm sure it was black people in this town to hang out with. So you chose to go hang out with all of the white people in the goddamn state, and unfortunately that didn't work out for the brother. Now, what we say is that we don't want to speak negative. We want to use this as a positive to teach our other brothers and sisters who seem to have this deep infatuation for wanting to love a white girl over everything else. Like, it ain't no black women that's gonna have a conversation, could be cool to you, want to chill with you, and so you want to love these people so much more than you love yourself. And there are consequences at this particular time, and have been throughout the history of time, of these kind of actions. If your reward, as a black woman, black man, wanting to hang out with these people, and you see how it's consistently becoming. This isn't like, when you see one person hung, you're like, oh, damn, a brother got hung this year. 2 brothers got hung this year. 4 brothers got hung this year. 2 brothers got hung together. You see what I'm saying? 4 or 5 sisters been hung. A few other ones was lynched. A few other ones was found beat up, shot, and all this, right? Okay. Yeah. At the same point of emphasis, we as a people have to make sure that we are monitoring us too, and how we are mentally already sick. And so we will start to kill each other just like white people, And so this unfortunate situation has put, it's crazy to say stuff like that because you don't really want to say things like that, but it's made it where it can help some other brothers. They really like, maybe I shouldn't go hang out with this white girl today. Maybe I damn sure shouldn't go hang out with all these white people and not say something. Not take somebody with me. At least we the only 2 brothers at the thing now. You know what I mean? So, it was an old school comedy movie, and it was it's like a little spoof thing. And this dude from whatever the heck that is, it was the black dude. It'll come to me, but they like the rich black people, right? And the particular thing was the black dude goes through, and then he bumps into the other black dude, and he's like, hey, man, what you doing here? I'm the only token in this movie. And they like look at each other, and then they look at the camera, and then they go about the movie. And so that's some real life though. Yeah. That's some real life. Brothers don't, when they show up somewhere and they think they the only black person at the thing, and they see another black person, they don't really function with each other. Because they don't want to be seen as the black people. They still try to be seen as one of them. Oh no, Charlie's one of the guys, man. That's my bud. Until Jeff Bott over there is whooping his backside, and then he's the other white guy, and I can't go against the white people because that is the only black person here. And I don't want to be the only white person going against the white people. So, unfortunately, these things are warning signs to others. We can't help that brother no more right now. other than to find out and get him justice for what has gone wrong with him. But we can use this as a moment and a teaching thought for our people to realize that, yeah, maybe y'all need to check yourself. Maybe we need to not go certain places, hang with certain people, and unify with some of our own. And you telling me it's dangerous to go to black functions because you might get shot. Well, it's dangerous to go to white functions because you might get lynched, But they don't say that. But we'll say, oh, man, I can't go to that black rap show, man. Somebody might get popped there. Did anybody get popped at the last one? Well, no, but it's a possibility. Well, a brother got lynched at the last barbecue with all the white people. My white friends aren't like that. So it's about how we going to accept. How much punishment do we have to take as a people? How many young men and women do we have to lose to white people before some of our young men and women, before our parents start having that discussion? I think of some parents having a discussion with their child right now that they probably never said to their child that hang out with white people. I bet you they never said, oh, man, make sure that white people don't lynch you. They probably was happy.
Yeah.
They probably was happy. I don't want to be like that, but they probably was happy that their son was not hanging with niggas and was hanging with some white folks. Well, my son, he's on the team and he hangs out with the athletes and all the white people. He's not even around all these niggas. He's gonna be okay. He's gonna be safe. You see what I'm saying? We not safe around white people. And when the brothers said they get tired of hearing us, Jews got a statement. What is it? Never forget, never forgive, never again. 6 million Jews. I'm gonna give them 6 million. They say 6 million. The other people try to say 1 million. I'm not even gonna argue that fact. I'm gonna give you 6.5 million Jews got killed by them fools. And for that 6.5 million Jews that got killed, they told you, never forget. Never forget. They can erase it out their history books. So what? Let's write our own history books. We can never forget slavery. 400 million black people died in slavery around the world. 400 million compared to 6.5 million is like one drop of rain hitting you compared to a flood in your town. Never forget. We could never forget. There is never, ever going to be a time where we'll ever forget slavery. I will teach my daughter. You tell your daughter that they murdered us. They raped us. They raped our daughters at 9, 10 years old, raping them, taking our babies, raping our wives, taking our children directly from their parents and selling them like puppy dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Never forget. I don't give a damn what history book they erase it out of. You can't erase it out my backside of my blood. It's in my DNA. And after that, if I forget, we still got Jim Crow. You stupid fools. Y'all took away slavery. We can forget slavery. There you go. What you said, 1836, Rosewood, Tuskegee. We can name up, what's the Central Park was a whole goddamn black city that they tore up, burned down, and put a park there. So even if we forget slavery, devils been demons. And all of us who have fallen victim to being suckers in this world, because we went and fought their wars, World War I, niggas run over. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We fight. World War II. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's more black men in the Navy, in the Army, in the Marines, in the Air Force. We damn near do the commercials.
Yeah.
And we come back from World War I, can't go to the bathroom with white folks. We fought and killed to keep you devils in power, but we can't, excuse my language, people, we can't piss and shit in the same stanky ass toilet with you. Like your doo-doo is something more special than the doo-doo come out our butt. Your doo-doo and our doo-doo can't be mixed together because your doo-doo come out a white booty hole. For real. And we fight and die with these fools. And then in World War II, We fight and die with these foods and come back and can't sit at the same food counter with y'all and eat the same food. Got to come through the back door and get less proper food and less proper things and less proper clothes and less proper shoes and less proper material, and then go die and fight for y'all, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Iran. Forget about old times, modern wars. Fought in modern wars. They got a video of the brother. He's some kind of lieutenant. He was in Iraq and Afghanistan. They beating the crap out of his backside and arrested him because he a nigga with no plates. So you tell me, when is the time to unite with self, quit thinking of ourselves as dangerous and deplorable people, when the dangerous and deplorable people constantly remind you who they are?
Yep.
We scared of some nigga on the corner with a gun. I walk by them fools all the time. They speak, "Hey, black man, hi, bro, how you doing? Everything good? Yes, sir. Oh, gee, what's up with it? Nothing, yes, sir." You know what I'm saying? These white folks, I'm concerned about. They look at me, and then the police show up. You know, we have to have a clear vision that these are signs of the time, signs of the mind, signs for us to get our butts on the grind, to do what the heck we got to do. Or this is the signs for us to be stupid and just stand in line like the sheep and be herded to the slaughter.
Yeah.
If we don't see that unification is needed now more than ever, the January 6th we'll pay these demons and devils to riot. But you Negroes and niggas over there, we'll send our Rittenhouses over to shoot y'all down during your protest. Then we'll raise up $1 million fund to get him bailed out of jail and get him a lawyer. Then we'll pay off the judge to tell him to let him go. Let him go. We'll pay our police, our ICE forces to murder you in the street and your brown people. And some of our brown people, yeah, I want to be disrespectful to them, but y'all was calling us niggas just 7 to 9 months ago. Oh, these niggas? Oh, I don't mess with these niggas. You know, because these niggas ain't about nothing. You know, oh, I don't go, don't go around those niggas. Yeah, the Mexicans, that's the shit they were saying. Excuse my language. But this is the proper mindset. This is how they work. Now, they butts is getting kicked. The Arabs have been our friends since 9/11. But before 9/11, the Arabs weren't our friends. The Arabs had stores that there no brothers work in them. They was dogging us out, calling us niggas, talking about we was stealing, treating our women, disrespecting them. You already know. Some of y'all know some of that stuff with forfeiting them with the liquor stores wasn't just because they were stupid. It was an end of reactions to reactions to reactions. They just wasn't smart about the way they went about the stuff, but that was still how stuff was going. But when you get the 9/11, now the police jacking Arabs. Now you Arabs is under suspicion. Now y'all getting pulled over. Now y'all cars getting searched. Now y'all stores getting searched. Now y'all under the eye. Now y'all like, oh, black people, I'm just like you. I'm black too. I'm black too. See, when they get dogged out, they seem to understand our plight. Now they want to be our friend. Now they want to call us brother. But before they was getting dogged out by this demon, they were the demons too. So we as a people have to unite under ourselves and teach our brothers and our sisters, our daughters and our sons that white ain't right. And it don't matter. And it's not nothing to say that all white people bad. Not all white people bad. But you seem to think all black people bad. So let's just take some precautional mindset from that and add it to the white people. For real, for real.
Yeah.
All right, I apologize. I didn't mean to just go. All right, Sajala.
Yes, Jalahu. Yep, that's right. That's exactly right. And that's the emphasis needed for the importance of our history. And you know, like you said, historically, Black people have been much more inclined to see the worst in other Black people, which is why, you know, it's easier to go and strive to get proximity to white people because you think that's safer, that's better. Put your child in an all-white school because it's a better education, and keep them away from those inner city Black youth. They're nothing but trouble. And there is trouble. There is a lot that we have to work on in our community. But if it's much more likely that your child isn't going to face a danger simply because of the color of their skin down in Oakland, California, than what they're experiencing constantly in these schools where they're targeted because of the color of their skin. It's completely different. It's completely different. Even for other people moving into our communities, a lot of people talk about, you know, there's bullying that goes on in the Black community. There's bullying that goes on in every community. There's bullying. So there's a lot of, you know, a lot of throwing off on the Black community about how difficult, how hard, how terrible, you know, Black people are so mean and Black people are this and that. And then you ignore and pass by and, you know, give grace to and, you know, give excuses for the things that happen in other communities. But it's proven that it's a very dangerous, especially in this day and time where our people are being targeted. There is a targeting happening. It's not even just regular bullying. Our people are being targeted in these in the white community, and so it's much more intelligent to be mindful. That doesn't mean that your one white friend that you've known your whole life is going to turn around and kill you, but that does mean that if he invites you to the woods where his family's hosting a local barbecue, maybe consider that a little bit. Maybe be a little careful that maybe that's not a great idea, because that's completely different. And so the Alkaline family put the ones in the corner in our corner need to be promoted to our police force. Yep, that's very true. And there are a lot of people who believe that they are allies, white people, and some of them are. I've seen a lot of them online. However, they move to our community and then they do work in our community. I'm an ally, so I'm gonna go to the Black community. We should encourage them to go to their community and talk to and teach and strive to unpack racism for their community. We'll handle ours, you handle yours. That's where the work is over there with your community, and we'll handle our community. We have enough organizations run by Black people to feed the Black community. Lily doesn't have to move down here in order to feel like she's doing something. So it's a lot to unpack there, and it's a lot to consider. However, we know overall our unity is key in understanding the importance of not only history for our community. We don't even have to center white people in the importance of our history. For us to understand that there's a lot of generational trauma. I think Imani had said last time, post-traumatic slave syndrome. You can see it. I just seen a video and someone said, why, when you try to wake up a Black person, do they be like, I'm up, I'm up, I'm up? And most people in the comments is like, I'm pretty sure that probably goes back to slavery. Because why do we have this affinity to just, you know, you were clearly asleep, but you're like, I'm up, I wasn't asleep. That's something. So post-traumatic slave syndrome, the trauma from it, the passing down of harmful activities that maybe were to protect us during slavery, but now it's just harmful. There's a lot of things that we have to work on. And so unpacking that, understanding that, having grace for our community instead of having grace for every other community and what they go through. What about grace for our community and what our people have gone through? And the importance of unifying, not accepting divisional tactics that are just the tactic of our open enemy to keep us distracted, and come together so that we can exodus out of this fallen country. Because if we believe in God, then there's no way that we can believe that he would just allow for these people who all over the world, to all sorts of people, is just causing mischief and bloodshed. There will be a reckoning. And if we don't want to be party to that reckoning, then it's important for us to exodus out of their midst. And that's something that's important. I remember Samaya from the bakery. She got up during sister's class and she told a story that was, I remember it to this day because it was impactful. And she said she was in the car with someone who she knew was kind of wilding out. Samaya was back at the bakery. She was trying to get on her dean. And she said this sister she knew was wilding out. She was strain. But Samaya, was like, yeah, you can pick me up. Yeah, I'll go somewhere with you. And there was a car accident, a serious car accident. And Samaya said what she learned from that is not to hang around people that are involved in activities that are not beneficial, or that they're doing something or have done something that will cause for them to have some sort of punishment from God. And so if you believe that America is going to be punished for their crimes against humanity, then the important thing, or the smart thing for us to do, is to get up off the targeting block, go exodus from amongst this country, and not be party to their punishment. But if we stay here, we could be party to their punishment, because at that point you're on this soil, and this soil has to be purified. So it's a lot for us to consider in our talk for justice, and giving justice to our people and those who have the eyes to see how important it is for us to unify and for us to come together. There is no holds barred. This is significant, and it's extremely important. And all of the milestones and stumbling blocks we have to go through just to unify shows us how important it is, and all the work that has been done to keep us ununified, disunified. And that's also important. So we see the Alkaline family have their hand up, so we will pass the line.
How you doing?
Yes, sir.
I know I came in kind of late, but I wanted to say I was just honestly recently looking at like moving off grid and
Yeah.
just starting a community all over again. And I see that there's some people who have actually done it. They're already doing it. Like I've seen there's people who have been doing it for the past 6 years. There's been people that's been doing it,
Yeah.
and it's working. Like, they don't live in in the city. They live off somewhere else, and they're just building their own community, and they is gated around it. They making sure they have their own rec center or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to get away from all of this. I
Yeah.
really do. I feel like it's too much, and like, the situation with the young man, it constantly weighs on my heart, like,
Yeah.
because I have a black husband, I have two black sons, I have I have black brothers, I have
Yeah.
a father, I have uncles, I have cousins. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, it's too much. It's like
Yeah.
I really, really, really feel like it's time to separate ourselves, and the whole conversation, or whatever these lawmakers are talking about. They're trying to bring segregation back. I'm here for it. I want to be segregated away from y'all. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, like, it's okay. I'm okay with it. Like, recently, I actually, just a little while ago, I was talking to my aunt, and she was telling me how we need, just like how the brother was just saying, how we need to teach our children about, history. Even if they erase it, it doesn't matter. They can't erase it from our brains. They can't erase it from our
Yeah.
DNA. And my aunt grew up in Mississippi, and so, she was just telling me about how, well, she tells me a lot the stories over and over again, because she's pretty much traumatized from it. But
Yeah.
how her and my grandmother would be at the store, and when you're buying your groceries, uh, if a white person would come up, then they could be in the middle of a transaction selling you something, and they will completely stop and start waiting on that person, and you have to stay there and until they're done. Because if you just say, "Oh no, that's okay," and leave and go home, then they won't forget. They make it their business to know exactly who everybody is, that looks like us. And they're gonna come and visit you. And not in the daytime. They're gonna come visit you at nighttime about that, whatever you didn't do. Like she said she would go get some ice cream with her siblings, and they'd be in line to get their ice cream, and they could literally be in the middle of serving them their ice cream, and if somebody white come up, they would stop and serve them first. And you can't just leave. You gotta stay. I mean, it's I'm tired. I'm tired of worrying about if my son goes in the store and they feel like he looks like he's gonna steal, that he may lose his life. That's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. It's even not a good feeling to know that everything from just the smallest thing of if I buy something for $1, that dollar is going to probably to their country. It's not even going circulating back with my people to help anybody. And then for my grandmother to have been going to the same church since my mom was 6 years old, all the way up to now, and she don't have nothing to show for it. That also bothers me. That bothers me. You don't have no property. You have nothing. You can't pass nothing to none of your family. All them years you invested in the church, and the church don't care nothing about you either, because they now they're talking about they want to fight my family because they don't want to have it as a church anymore. They want to make it an apartment building. I'm tired. I want to be away from the city. I want to start over. I would not mind living somewhere off close, like country, and we can grow our food. We'll have our own animals. We can make our own everything.
Yes, ma'am. That is so powerful. And I'm just gonna say one other thing, because there are a lot of people who are unpacking some of the things that we pass down in our families as African Americans, and how some of those things are harmful. You know, the way we eat, the way we parent, the everything, and it really can make our community look like, well, golly, we are the worst that they say we are. But when you reframe it as a lot of these things were used by our community to protect us, or when you reframe it, like you said, what does, a culture where you have to accept being passed over when you're in line, when you are the just next person, or someone is actually serving you, and they'll stop and serve someone else because that person is white. What does that do to you for generations? And so there's a woman who she went on a podcast, and she's talking about, when you go to the store, how some Black families would be like, don't touch nothing, don't look at nothing. But when you think about it, a child is curious. A child wants to explore. They might learn from touching. If they're not breaking anything, then what's the problem? You see white people, they let their children go in the store. They crying, throwing stuff, throwing themselves all over the place. Their parent don't be like, don't you touch, don't you. But in our families, it's almost like you're going to get your butt whooped if you touch anything. If you even put your finger, don't ask for nothing, be invisible. And it's like, golly, that seems a bit abusive. And she talked about how back during segregation, then if your child goes in the store and they break something or they touch something, and a white person wants to say, hey, you touched that, you have to buy it. You never know what that can lead to. That can lead to your son or your husband or you being lynched and killed. It could be something that simple that could set it off. And so we pass down this tradition. Don't touch nothing when you come in the store. Don't talk, don't look, don't ask for nothing, because at any moment you can be targeted. And so that reframing allows you to say, it is still something that maybe we can reconsider passing down, that our children can't be children in the store, But now I understand where that came from, and I don't have to demonize the Black community overall as being the worst of the worst. And that's important. And then another thing, we know we want to decenter white people even in our liberation. And that's something that's important. So what BUCU is building is a nation. We have our own certification. We have our own community. We have our own licensing. We have our own police. We have our own process of mitigating harm. Harm occurs. You have a property dispute. Well, if we're not going to go to the white man to handle that dispute, how are we going to handle it as a community? And so when we think about going off grid and building our own community, there's a lot we have to consider. If we're going to be in America, we have to consider that there are going to be people who don't like that we have our own community. And so I have a video up of a couple who someone is impeding on their land, cutting their lots. They are in fear that something may happen to them or to their land. So you have to consider those things. But regardless, what we call it is the white mind and the Black behind, because at this point we've spent generations not only suffering at the hands of these people, but looking up to them, aspiring to be like them. So sometimes when people want to, get out of maybe, the lowest way of poverty and things, they want to be like white people. I want to be like a white woman, and I want to do this. I want to be like a white man and do that. And then you'll continue the same harmful things that even white people do. You start looking down on your own people. You are a capitalist, so everything is about money. You don't want to be fair with people because you got to protect your money. And so those are the things that we do when we aspire to whiteness. But the Black way is completely separate from that. And so we must decenter them when we speak about our liberation also. And the importance of having that history is especially for our youth who don't know that history. If they're going to public school, they're not being taught that. So we must tell them our history. But then once we get into the liberation of it all, we can completely decenter white people. We can completely set them to the side. They are not the standard. They are not who we're striving to appease or appeal to. This is straight Black and across the diaspora. So we start here in America, yes, because our people are in the belly of the beast. And we say the beast is the United States of America. This is the worst place on the planet. And if the scriptures are true, then God is coming to deal with these people and what they've done. And if we're here, it's going to be difficult to get around that. So we must exodus. So we have to start here with our people to appeal to them the importance of our unity to travel up out of here. But we have Black people everywhere. South America, full of Black people. Europe, full of Black people. Asia, full of Black people. We want to appeal to them as well, the importance of unity, coming together, decenter whiteness. When we decenter whiteness, everybody decenter whiteness. When we start talking about our liberation, the Asians start talking about their liberation, the Indians start talking about their liberation, everyone follows suit. So we can be comfortable focusing on our people, like our sister said, our community, and making sure that we unify, no diaspora wars, no religious wars, no light skin, dark skin wars, no gender wars, none of that. We're coming together. We're going to unify, and we have a process to deal with harm that doesn't minimize the harm, but deals with it in a way that is the Black way, not the white way. And if we're going to move on the land together, we have to have that process. So we need a structure. We need a law. We need rules. We need a code and conduct. We need some of these historically, some of these cities where Black people established land, like Allentown, which was near Oakland, the city refused to give them water rights. So there was no water going to their city. So how do they deal with water? Because the city is not going to help them get water. The city refused to give them the rights to dump their trash. So they have to figure out a different way to deal with trash. The city says, hey, that lake is getting contaminated with this sewer system that we have in this other city, but the city refuses to address that because this is a Black town. So how do we deal with that? There's so much to consider that it really emphasizes the importance not only of our unity, but of the structure. needed to ensure that we don't get on this land. It's unsuccessful. And all the people was like, see, that's why living with the white man was better. Just like when Moses went to the Israelites and they said, you know what, if I was back over there in slavery, at least I'd have some food to eat. We don't need that. We don't need that at all. So we have to have a structure. Okay, I think I seen Brother Shabbat hand up and the next one.
Yes, I just want to say on that note is about is a saying which is a fact. He who controls the narrative control freedom and power.
Yeah.
Because you can put all you want out. If you're not controlling it, you have nothing. You have no power, you have no freedom.
Yeah.
That's why they control the media. So they can put the message out that they want. They don't want everybody to know how savage they are, even if it's already known, but they got to continue battling that to keep that down by shining a light on other people's, even though they may not be as savage as them or creating more harm than them. But if that's all you need, that's all that you need to know, that's all you're going to understand. It's like, it's a fact that European of different heritage, Britain, Europe, France, all part of that same gender, it doesn't matter. They have slaughtered more of their own peoples than Africans ever have.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
have slaughtered more peoples of other races than any other race ever have. In the United States, bringing it more closer to their home, they are the only country ever used nuclear bomb, the atom bomb on Japan, Hiroshima, and all of that 2 times. And then they say we can't allow people to have these bombs because they may use them. But you're the only one that ever used them. So who are you talking about? And if the Japanese, when they mention it, they get them. That's just like in the Catholic, when thinking of the Catholic, the diocese. I can't think of the country right now. It's at its own city, the Vatican.
Okay.
The Vatican, which a lot of people don't know or realize, because it shocked me when I found out about a decade or so ago that was the largest pyramid. They blew it up, and underneath where they built the Vatican City over it, there's still catacombs under there. Catacombs and nothing but tunnels. In most of the so-called history books that was burnt, in the true Bibles and all of that, what they say was burnt, is under there. No president of the United States, of any other country, can ever go under there. No, the Pope himself can't even go under there because it's a whole different thing. That's why they have their own money, their own rules, their own laws, and all of that. And they sanction. They was the first to sanction slavery because they knew who the power was, belongs to the true peoples, who was the chosen peoples. The Pope, I think about in 2023, I believe it was, the Pope met with 5 African leaders. He bent down to kiss all 5 feet, but the last individual pushed him away, would not allow him to kiss his feet. And the Pope said it was okay. He said no. He wouldn't allow him to kiss his feet. So if you see that, what would you take from that? But they hurry up and took that off the internet and refused to allow it to be put up. And the Jews, like the brother mentioned earlier about the Jews, say never forget. But we say the same thing. We say that was hundreds of years ago. Why are you constantly repeating it? But to that same saying, we lost more peoples in the Middle Passage than the Jews lost in the whole cycle of the Holocaust. And they don't even mention and separate the blacks and the Asians that was there that died as well, that was considered themselves Jews back then. They say it all was Jews. Just like the Italians say they white. You're not white. You got more black blood in you than you have European blood, which Hannibal made sure of that for whatever reason. in slavery, they said one drop of black blood meant you was black, not white.
Yeah.
So you can't have it both ways. That's all I want to say. You can't have it both ways, like I mentioned about the car and passing something down. But for them, they could pass down stolen goods, and but we can't.
Yeah.
And I need to understand and realize we must secure what we have. So when we do pass it down, they can't say, "Well, you didn't have this paperwork." And let's play by the same rules they putting on the table, enforce those rules. Not say we want to use our own rules against them, because they're not going to allow that. Those are not the law, the rules and laws of the land. Like having a will. A will can be contested in court after the individual passed. In probate, it get tied up,
Yeah.
and by the time you do get it back, you didn't pay so much of it to the white peoples anyway, so it ain't even worth having because you didn't gave more of it away anyway. But
Yeah.
you have trust. Put everything into a trust, just like they do. And when the kid take over the trust as a not so much owner, but he worked for the trust. The house is passed to him there, not given to him in a will where the house, when it was bought $100,000, now it's worth a few million. Never had paid taxes on it. Now the kid had to pay all those taxes on it. But in a trust, and he's the how they say the inherited of the trust. He's the control the trust through there because he worked for the trust and he inherited everything. The trust, he pays nothing, none of that, because it haven't changed. It's still in the same position it was. This is what we must understand in the business aspect. Not only the straight living or growing vegetables, property. How do we keep all of that? We have to understand when we do get the land, not when or if, but when we get the land, we must understand we want to grow indoors because they have right now the South and parts of South Mississippi, Texas, Alabama, New Orleans, all that. They're having paying. I don't know exactly who's doing, but they're paying people's with their crop planes to fly over people's field and spread and poison it because you're attacking the food administration because they have no if we growing all our food, they can't no, we don't have to, we don't need to. We feeding ourselves.
Yeah.
That's why cities they stopped, some decades back, stopped people from having home gardens because they was losing money because it's a capitalist society. But we must go back to growing. My neighbor growing certain vegetables. I'm growing certain vegetables because we only have so much property, just which is a backyard. Let's trade like that. We don't have to have the 15 acres, although we want it, but for what we have right now, that little plot in the backyard, take a corner of that, grow certain things that'll help you save some of the money you spending at the grocery store. You know exactly what's on it. You don't necessarily have it buried in the ground. Use raised garden. Make sure what type of fertilizer you're using and all of that. Look into it. Research is what we must do continuously. But I'm gonna there let someone else want to speak. I think Sister Francine have her hand up. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, wa alaikum salam. Okay, we're gonna answer one had his hand up first, and then we'll go to you, Sister Francine. Good teaching, Brother Shabbat.
Oh, yes, man. Brother Shabbat said a lot there. So we just kind of coming off a little bit of what he said is you just see the importance of the program, and that's one of the more important things. We always come to the question of, say our people do get land. You finally get some land, and then you now have to establish your own government. What stopped you from running it the same way that taught you to? What's going to make you any different? I mean, where do you start over? Even if you were to say, we got to unlearn some things. Okay, well, what do you have to learn? And there's plenty of, we have a beautiful plan that is for our people. As soon as our people try to do something for themselves, that's when we experience interference. And that's the thing that you have to expect. You have to expect that there's going to be some interference. If you take it all the way back to slavery, just think about the fact that, you know, our people were told that they were free. What caused for our people to stay? What mental condition was on our people at that time that moved for our people to stay? And that has something, then when you dig into that, you go further into what is the hesitation today. You know, when you deal with that hesitation back then is even more reinforced today. You know, many of our people are still dependent on white America. And a lot of times too, it'd be interesting. You know, it takes for our own people to go into the study to understand that our people have extreme Stockholm syndrome when it comes to America, as far as being, you know, mistreated by these people, but you're so dependent on these people and then fell in love with these people so much that you have this very terrible relationship that has been built. And a lot of times, it takes for our people to come into the mental health format in order to even bring that forth. But it'd be interesting because, you know, we've always kind of flipped it sometimes. Like, you know, our people may have that Stockholm syndrome, but what about y'all? I mean, you have a lot of white children that grew up watching Black people get lynched and having crowds celebrate afterwards. What did that do to your generation of white children? And if anything, why does that matter today? This is what you got to defend against. If you wonder why a lot of news or a lot of the way that they treat our people when they die is so insensitive, and they're very quick to go into this direction where it seems that they're justifying the killer or justifying, you know, the way our people get killed, take into consideration that even within their own psychology, even before we go real deep where we can get into nature and all of that, but if we just want to talk about the psychology of it all, these people these generations have been raised up on dead Black bodies. So you're dealing with the people that really have a very low level of sensitivity towards your death. And then you're dealing with a warring people. These people like to even war amongst each other. So you take all of these things into consideration and you just start thinking about, you know, one, I got to get my people out of centering, you know, I got to get you first to dissatisfaction. You know, a lot of our people got to get dissatisfied first. You're not going to change until you're dissatisfied. You need 100% dissatisfaction in order to bring about 100% change. And unfortunately, what we will find that we run into is you find that a lot of our people are not fully dissatisfied. You know, so there's plenty of our people that have the desire, but, you know, in the scriptures, it says that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That is referring to, you know, our people see it, but unfortunately, it's like it's almost as if you got to experience some more things for at least a mass of us to make this decision. And that's the thing that, you know, when you give people these news and we give them these current events, where, you know, at least trying to get them to that dissatisfied point and then letting them know there is a solution, you know, to be confident in that solution and be confident in the ability to be able to achieve, knowing all the odds that are against you, you know. But it really shows how important it is to have a program. If our people have a righteous program, which, you know, we have a program. But if our people were to adhere to this righteous program that cleans the people up, then, you know, you put yourself in a situation, you put yourself in a better mindset to be able to achieve those goals of, you know, we're going to go and move out and we're going to go ahead and start our own Black town. And we're civilized over here whenever it comes to any of our own people that want to bring that foolishness over here. We grew up in that foolishness. We know how to stave a lot of that stuff off.
Yeah.
But you know, you gotta get to those particular phases and know what you're dealing with. You know, and that's what's beautiful about what it is that we receive here. We receive what we're dealing with. You're dealing with and you're dealing with the type of people too that, like Ansarel was saying, they'll go and shut your water off. So you start a town, and what you gonna do when they start shutting your water off? What you gonna do when they start shutting your electricity off? How are you gonna defend, this town? Many countries, even across the world, have to deal with this thing where I gotta get nukes because you got nukes,
Yeah.
and that's the only way that I'm gonna be able to back you up, you know. And this is where you gotta have faith in something bigger. And that's one of the things that I'm sure everyone on the line, Black people, have that natural. We have this natural connection to spirituality because we know it's real. We know that connection is real.
Yeah.
And for anyone that, many people may still try to figure out the accuracy of what it is that spiritual connection is, but we know that there is something bigger. There is a most high. There is something that is controlling this way that things are happening. And I think what's important for a lot of our people right now is to know that, if you ever do get into scripture, if you ever get into these words, you'll find that even all of this part, the part that's so difficult, the odds that are against you, a lot of that is wrote about. A lot of that is in the scriptures. A lot of times people just don't have the right teacher. You may have somebody that didn't teach a lot of those things right. It's not always that it's not real. A lot of times you may have just had a teacher that wasn't qualified to teach you about those spiritual things. But when you really get into that, that's the type of confidence that you start having. When you hear about Haile Selassie and you learn about the type of faith he had, during a time of great duress in Africa, and just in many other aspects in history, you understand that it's going to be a conjunction of our people are going to have to make action, and then we're going to have to rely on God in some way. Yeah. And that's all going to have to be in connection. It's not going to be you just sitting there and just letting things happen or not doing anything. And then it's not going to just be relying on America at some point being civil with you. Yeah. So you would have to have both hand in hand. And that's where it's just going to be important to, have that literal and spiritual faith that, we can do it. But yeah.
Yes, sir.
Jolly.
Yes, the Jolly. Yeah, good teaching. Good teaching. That's exactly right. Yes, ma'am, Sister Francine.
Yes, this was about something that Brother Chabal was saying with the Vatican. So they have not crossed out or apologized for that document they created that dehumanized African people, and also gave permission to their people to enslave African people, and they also used that document to chop off the hands of all of African drummers. It did not want them to send, because that was their telegraph system. It wasn't, they could send messages all over quickly through the drumming. So that was just, that document is not, it's not, it's supposed to be by a spiritual leader, but yet it's all about warfare. And giving Europeans a false ideology that it's okay to refer to Africans as not human, not human beings. when, for centuries we were trading with them and helping them and upping their technology, and then you're going to turn around and say that our people are animals, merely animals, and can't do anything. Cromwell, when what was it, Henry VIII or something like that, Cromwell was actually in the they didn't put a color on it. He was in the seizing people's lands, accusing them of not being Christian or witchcraft and stuff, and a number of people's land that he was stealing was Black aristocrats, just taking their land, their wealth, and everything. And later on, Henry VIII killed Cromwell, and then everything came under his coffer. So everything Cromwell stole and kept, whatever percentage he kept, he took that as well. So that was just theft. They squandered. He squandered his wealth, and then he just looked around to see what other wealth he could get, and they lied on people, and they used religion as a way to say that it's because they were practicing witchcraft. And so this means if you're doing that and you get accused of that, we get to kill you, and I get to own everything that you owned while you were alive. I get either kill your whole family or just completely impoverish them and banish them from their homes, their lands, and all that. So he has not, this Pope, poo-poo on him because he has not removed that edict. And said this was wrong. Bowing and kissing somebody's feet, that's just a gesture. That doesn't mean anything. Do something that really means something, which is stop that, because as long as that's in place, there are people who believe it's okay to continue to believe that we're not human, because after all, the Pope is supposed to be infallible, wrote this. And no Pope is infallible. He's just a man. They're men and make mistakes or do evil stuff, and they have a history of that. So all of that's wrong, and that's the warfare that they were engaged in. They would take the scholars out of a nation and give them to their children as body servants. But they created ignorance where there was none. To this day, and it's our people keep saving them and saving them and saving them, and it's just kind of really ridiculous. During the war, our men were skilled in battle, and what they made them work as chefs, cooks, chefs. People to take care of their laundry. Personal butlers to their generals and stuff like that. And during the Pearl Harbor, truth is those cooks and chefs, when those ships were being bombed, they took over machinery and were helping to save what battleships they could. And that was cooks. When you see the movie, they're not telling the whole truth. When they do these dramatizations, they act like, all of a sudden a cook got behind a weapon and started firing off on it, and it just suddenly he gains the skill. He had the skill all along. They train like people, but when they assign them places, that's what they did. And what about World War I? We had pilots that they already knew how to fly planes, and they'd gone over to Europe and trained with the French and whatnot. The French were so desperate they'd take anybody. But why did why did it have to be on that basis? We don't know if that's true either, because the French had alliances with the African nations. So, and then this business of Biden foolishly gave nuclear weapons to Israel. Obama at least was sitting on that and not allowing any more arsenal to go back to them, and they and was had scheduled our country giving money to them to stop at some point completely.
Yeah.
I mean, really, they have annual events here in this country where they send money over to Israel. They are not poor, and not desperate.
Mm-hmm.
They get their own weapons, but they don't, that's getting something for free is better, right?
Yeah.
And that they've been stealing topsoil from Lebanon for a long time. Whenever they get a chance to go over there and they bring their trucks. I saw that in a documentary, and see, Channel 9 is now, being controlled, and you don't see these old documentaries where they're going in with trucks and they're stealing the topsoil.
Mm-hmm.
Bombing their beaches. The last time they bombed their beaches, they poisoned their beaches. But what the coastline is all connected. So when they poison with nuclear poison their beaches, they're also poisoning their own beaches. That's just how crazy they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't, and now they're posturing. They want more territory in Lebanon that never belonged to them. Doing the same thing they did with the Palestinians. They're coming in and saying
Absolutely.
This, for whatever reason, they want to take over this territory, and the Saudi nations are stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Because what did we learn about the history in the Germans did in Europe? They took these smaller countries, and later on they created a world war.
Yep.
Darn well they have their eye on the Saudi nations. They want that oil. As a little country like that, backed by the States, they want that. They want whatever powerful resources they have there, and they'll end up just like Gaddafi, asking for help. And the nations are not coming, and he told them, we need to have our own sovereign protection, our own alliances, and they're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They could have helped him, the Kuwaitis, whatever, they could have helped him, and his own people turned against him foolishly after he made nationalized education, and anybody could get an education. Now, why didn't they travel to other countries and make businesses for themselves if they felt like they couldn't do that in their own country? He empowered them to do that, but they fell for the temptation of, kill him for what, $1 million or something, but what good is it? Now they're an enslaved nation.
Yeah. And when you look at it, the root of that is racism. A lot of the Arab world still has a lot of racism they're dealing with, even though that is against the principles of Islam. But that's against the principles of most religion, is to be racist. But we still see it rampant in the Arab world, across Africa. And what Gaddafi was doing was an attempt to unify the Arab world with Africa, because the Arab world has insulated itself in Africa, and they just could not accept that. And it's the same here in America. A lot of the policies that are in place now that are not beneficial, like Israel has free health care. America sends $350 billion to them. However, American citizens don't have free health care, but they don't want free health care because of racism. They'd rather, listen, in order for them to struggle, I'd rather not have free health care. And that's what we see. And then the white community suffers from so much, because also the same way we passed down things from slavery, so did they. For example, the harmful idea that Black people can't feel pain, or Black people have this higher pain tolerance. So when they do procedures on Black people, they give them less anesthesia. They performed surgeries on a Black woman without anesthesia, period. Those type of things were rooted in racism and jealousy. Because of our strength, they believe that it justifies them to be extremely racist. And so all of those things is just a long-standing history that we understand that they have, and that they're going to continue to suffer with if they can't accept the fact that racism is unacceptable. And that's what we have to know in order for us to evolve and to be liberated from this country, and completely be retaught what is the truth and how we can unify. And just like what Antoine said about the Stockholm Syndrome, PLO Lumumba mentioned Stockholm Syndrome. He says Africa has Stockholm Syndrome. Africa is dependent on Europe, even though, like Sister Arikana said, Europe is dependent on Africa quite literally. But mentally, African countries are dependent on Europe. They think that they must have Europe. Oh, the Europeans do it better. If we kick the Europeans out, what will we do? And that's the type of thing that we just have to get over. So we know that we suffer it across the world, and we have to get rid of that mentality and hustle through and establish our own completely. We must establish our own.
Right, that's what Carl Jung said. Where would I be without Africa? In this book that scholar said was called "Young in Africa." The preeminent psychologist. He was getting all his ideas from, a lot of his important ideas were coming from Africa. Things about the dream, people's dreams, and analyzing people's dreams. The ancient people are already doing that.
Yeah.
And then Fidel Castro offered free medicine, free training to anybody in the United States, and this country's president was saying, "Oh, that's a terrible thing," and he said, "There's no catch to it. If you want to come here and become a doctor," he said, "we'll pay for it. Education is free." So when some Americans went off for it, there was no follow up on the story or anything like that, but they have a business where they send their doctors to these smaller countries.
Yeah.
They I don't know whether it's paid for or not, but definitely our country isn't interested in sending doctors there. You might see a nonprofit, they'll go for a little while or something like that, but you're talking about they're not going there just for medicine, but they're educating those people. That's what they're afraid of, is that they will get educated.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, don't get started.
Good teaching. Yeah, that is exactly right. I know we are at our wrap-up time. I'm going to share with you all some of the videos that we have up, and then maybe we can talk about them next week. We've had a great conversation today, and it's really important because what we are talking about here at BUCU is the establishing of our own land. Like Brother Shabbat always says, we will have our own land, our own community, and how we can do that and ensure the safety of our men, women, and children. Establish the law of our land. We know that we're going to be dealing with an influx of our people, which we want. So how will we deal with different mentalities? The mental health is an issue in our community until we can breed out America from our people. So how will we deal with mental health crisis? All of these things we must consider, because we're talking about a nation, not just having a feel-good homeboy county. We want a land that truly lasts, where we can be independent of the enemy. Let them for theirs, and ours for us. And so we have to establish these things. And so just so that, I know we may not be able to discuss everything today, but we can look at it. So let's see. All right, so PLO Lumumba. PLO Lumumba is an important person in Africa. He is a politician. He is a professor, and he has a long history of work in Africa, all across Africa. He has a long history of work, not just in one country. He talks about Africa as a whole, so Pan-African, and that's something that's also important. Is because he and others in Africa are talking about a unified Africa. That doesn't mean that everyone has to speak the same language. That doesn't mean any race or culture. Those type of conversations also are tactics of division, because you can't even talk about unifying and without people talking about, hey, but what about us over here? We do things this way, and you can keep doing things this way, and we're still unified. So he talks about a unified Africa, an African currency, a way for Africa to support Africa. And that's something that's important. So he has this lecture. It's called Pilo Lumumba Blast Ruto, Betraying Toure by Inviting Macron, French President Macron, and Exposes the Real Enemy. So this relates directly to what we've been talking about today, because as our family in Africa deals with what's going on over there, we are dealing with what's going on over here. And it's the same in Jamaica. It's the same in other Caribbean islands, in Latin America, where our people are. I don't know if you all heard, there's a native tribe in Honduras. They are a protected tribe. They're all Black. They're all Black. They're a protected tribe because they're native to the land, and the country recognizes them as having ownership of the land that they live on. They live in a full community. And the Trump-backed president, let's just get his name, just so that we can see that our people are dealing with this all over the world. So this program that we're talking about, it's not just for America. How do you spell Honduras? Honduras. Poets. The Garifuna people. They're primarily Black tribe in Honduras. They are a distinct Afro-Indigenous population descended from enslaved West Africans and indigenous Arawak Caribbean people. Honduras' current president is backed by Donald Trump. Now, why is the president of the United States and his backing of a foreign president, why does that matter at all? Remember last year, Donald Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras. Let's get his name. The former president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez, was serving a 45-year prison sentence for drug trafficking into the United States. Now we can compare that to President Maduro of Venezuela, who is now being charged for the trafficking of drugs from the country of Venezuela into the country of the United States. And the United States went to Venezuela, abducted him, and brought him to America to stand trial for drug trafficking. This happened before to the president of Honduras, who was taken from Honduras, charged in America for drug trafficking, and sentenced to 45 years in prison. Donald Trump gave him a pardon, which was controversial because at the exact same time, he gave him a pardon right when they're arresting and abducting President Maduro and his wife. So that's already interesting. So he pardoned this person, and this person was deported back to Honduras. And this was also right at the time of the elections in Honduras. So he was striving to interfere in their elections, and he did so successfully. And now the president-backed current president is backed by Donald Trump. Where did I put that? And his name is Nasri Tito Asfura. And he has changed or he has amended a law that protects the land of the Garifuna people, that protects their land, and it leaves this gray area that allows for their land to be sold, to be impeded on. And after this, a white man from America was apparently scammed. It appears that he was probably scammed, and he thought he bought these people's land. This is a community of people. So he flew from the United States of America to Honduras to go and do something with what he believed to be his land. Why are you buying land in Honduras in the first place? But let's ignore that. He goes there, he hires local armed guards to escort him to the Garifuna people's land, and he tells them that they have to leave their homes, their land, where they live. They tell him, no, we don't, because this is our land and it's protected by the government. He says he's going to kill them. He's going to order his paid guards to kill them and force them off of their land. So they called the local police. This white man was arrested for terroristic threats because you can't threaten to kill people. However, this is just the boldness of the president of white people from the US specifically. But also, look at what's happening in this foreign country to Black people on their land that's supposedly protected by the country, but the Trump-backed leftist current president is doing what white people do when they align together globally. Because the white Hondurans, because that's what you are. If you're not Black and you don't have no Indian blood in you, then you are white. They want to align themselves with whiteness. They want to use whiteness in order to advance their country and their people. And that means you have to prove yourself by being racist to Black people. So the first thing that you do, one of the first laws that you institute, is to allow for the Gadafunas people land to be impeded on and for it to be in question whether their protected land is still protected. So this fight that we're fighting here is a fight that we are fighting across the United States of America. Across the world. And it's important for us to know that. And that is the same in this video with Pia Lumumba. As well, this video, so this is the couple who has land in Africa, and they said that they found their locks cut and someone is trespassing on their land. So some of the things that they said that they are dealing with, and we'll put their video in chat also. Some of the things they said that they're dealing with, they said a chain and lock had been cut on one of their gates. The gate had been left partially open, so someone was able to get into their property, and they don't know how long it had been open because they only patrol that fence line once or twice a day. No, they said once or twice a month. They should change that. There was a suspicious truck. 3 months before they made this video, one of them noticed a Black pickup truck repeatedly parked outside one of the property's entrances. The truck would sit there for hours facing the ranch. They tried to make it obvious that the brother-in-law tried to make it obvious they tried to make it obvious that they saw the driver, like, hey, I'm looking at you. Later, the husband and wife both said that they noticed that same truck returning. They think it might be connected because a year ago, a company was allowed to use a well and pond for water needed in a drilling operation. This agreement expired in 2026. So they previously had an agreement with an oil and gas company to allow for this oil and gas company to use a well and pond, I guess, on their land. This agreement expired in April of 2026. The current owners chose not to renew it. They now own the well, electrical equipment, and water rights outright. Because this truck started appearing around the time that those rights ended, they wonder if there could be a connection. So they repeatedly say that they are only speculating, but they are concerned. They have 4 children, they have livestock, and they say that someone can steal their livestock, damage their property, and they live there with their family. So this is an interesting video to look at and track, not only, to track their safety, but also how they're going to deal with this. And then something that we must consider when we think of our own land and the things that you may come up against. We're talking about water rights, rights to electricity, a grid, things like that. So when we talk about living off the grid, we have to consider the idea of eminent domain. A lot of these black towns, so we talk about Allentown, Russellville, all of these towns were seized through eminent domain. These companies can use the government and lobby for the government to seize land as eminent domain. So how would we deal with those things as well? Repaired Nations is an organization in the Bay Area. They were at our first event at AAACC, and they also, along with Our Joy, they also make trips to Ghana annually. I think that they're planning a trip right now to Ghana, and they are just a great organization. They do a lot of work in the community. Like we said, they were at one of our events. Prayerfully, they'll be at our event September 5th, and they make trips to Ghana. So they take people on tours to Ghana. So if anyone's interested in that, they are a great organization to get in contact with. And then I'll just send everyone, there's just a host of videos online of people giving their experience about living off the grid. We can learn from their experiences and we can document what they have done, the lessons that they've learned and what they've instituted to ensure that they are safe, but also to ensure that they have all the amenities that they need. So I put some of those videos in the chat so that you all can check it out. Please check out PLO Lumumba. There are a few other African powerhouses. Julius Malema, he is in South Africa. If you all don't know, there is a xenophobic situation going on in South Africa with a group of South Africans going around and attacking Africans from other countries, migrants from other countries, forcing them out of their businesses, out of their homes. And, you know, their idea is anti-immigration. They're anti-immigration. They are not addressing all of the white South Africans and Afrikaners who are there, who are extremely racist, by the way, or the Indians or Asians who are there and extremely racist, by the way. They are, I actually seen a video of a young man go into a white man's shop and say, hey, do you have any, you know, other Africans working here? We would like for you to fire them, kick them out. Isn't that outrageous? So Julius Malema is a powerful political voice in South Africa. He is running for president there. He is respected by the youth there. He has a powerful voice. He talks openly about redistribution of land, because as we know, the very small percentage of European Afrikaners in South Africa own majority of the land. So he's talking about redistribution of the land, making right all of the wrongs from apartheid, and ensuring that Black people have safety, can walk down the street without being attacked, and you know, racism that's occurring in South Africa. And he has spoken out against those xenophobic raids that are occurring. And when we see that, we see a heightened attack on our unity, because that's quite ridiculous. There are other countries like Mozambique and Zimbabwe and Nigeria who have sent planes to South Africa to pick up their citizens, which is also significant. PLO Lumumba is a powerful voice. Dr. Arikana, she's a Black woman from Africa. She is also a powerful voice that everyone should listen to. And there's another brother named Julius Mpongo, who is also a powerful voice. So these are all voices in Africa. They are powerful, they are loud, and they are for African liberation. And they go throughout the country talking to the youth, which is very important. And then you have powerful leaders. The president of Namibia is a Black woman, which always stands out. Not only is she president, but her whole cabinet are women. Black women, which also stands out. The government is 57% woman, and the rest of the percentage is men, and that stands out as well. So we're watching Namibia. Namibia is actually the first place where Germany committed a genocide. So we'll talk about that next week, because Germany committed a horrible genocide, killed half of the population of Namibia, and no one even talks about that. And it's actually the first genocide that they committed, well before the genocide of the Jews. So these are some of the things that we will talk about next week. And we had a great conversation today. Let's continue on this conversation of our program and the structure and what we are building. And as we get our land that we know that we're going to get, ensuring that we have the structure necessary to be successful in that land and not have anyone turn back, that everyone feels safe, women and children especially, and that there is everyone has the things that they need, that we support one another, we can barter and trade. All of those things are very important. So Francine put in chat, the British royal family owns choice land in Africa. They have large tea farms. Yes, they own choice land everywhere, in the Philippines, in Thailand, in South America, in the Caribbean. They have poisoned the planet. They need to be sent back to where we allowed them to live, because we know they're not even native to Europe. They need to be sent there because they're everywhere, literally. I mean, when you think about it, Filipino people have a lot of Spanish names. Juan, Carlos. Why do they have those names? Because they were colonized by Spain. Hernandez, you'll see a Filipino person with the name Hernandez. That's not a Filipino name, but they were colonized by Spain. So that's why they, you can kind of tell that they're not Chinese. They have a lot of Indian or Spaniard in them, and they'll have some Spanish sounding names, even though they don't speak Spanish in the Philippines. So very interesting world history that we also must know so that we can unify with people all over the world. We wanted to trade and meet and commune with people, but first we have to do that with ourselves. And so we are very thankful for the meeting that we've had today and for everyone's input on the importance of our unity. It really just highlights that for us. That way we can protect our children, we can protect our women and our men, because there have been adult men who have gone missing, who have been found hanging. And that's, we know that the targeting is of our whole community. And so we have to keep each other safe, and we have to hold each other close. And we know that we can do that if we separate from our open enemy. And if any of them want to assist, they can send a few dollars and go about their way. So, all right, so we're going to land this ship. We will be meeting tomorrow for our grant meeting. We have a lot of grants. We have a lot of work there. So we need to be more strategic so that we can knock this stuff out and fill out some grants together. And then we'll be getting back to everyone regarding our event in September. We want you all to fill out these partnership agreements, and so that we can put your logo on the website and on the flyers. And your name can be on this event so that it can benefit the future work that you do. You can use this event to your advantage. And so we are thankful to all of you, and we will land this beautiful ship by remaining open in the name of the one and true God. We know him by many names. We thank him for coming to us throughout time and sending us his prophets. We thank him for Moses in the Torah, for Jesus in the gospel, for Prophet Muhammad in the Holy Quran. We thank him for sending liberators who prepared the way for his coming, like Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, Haley Selassie, and all the liberators who prioritize their community and their people. We can never thank him enough for coming in the person of Master Wallace Farah Muhammad, raising his messenger, the glorious Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, their raising of their national representative, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, and their return in and through the Royal Road and Remote Control Unit, and Surah Muhammad, the Select One, the Allah Master J-Man. We are thankful for our family, for the example of unity that we have just on this line. And on September, we can display that in person. Also, if any of you know anyone, any representative from any community or school of thought that can participate in our event, Opening Nations Prayer, we would like for a representative from all schools of thought to participate in this opening prayer. So we'll have a Nation of Islam minister, an Orthodox Muslim imam, a Christian pastor, and anyone else that you know that will be willing to participate in this unifying opening prayer for the event. That's something that we want to do. So if you know anyone who could be that representative from any school of thought, Hebrew Israelites, the Rastafarians, the Moore Science Temple, we would love for them to participate as well. It'll be something kind of short, but as long as they're there representing that flag, that's what we want. So we'll see everyone tomorrow and next week. And we are thankful. We love you all. Please have a blessed day. And with that, we'll say Sajadallahu, Assalamu alaikum, peace, black love, Ashe, and please get some sun for that beautiful black melanin. BUCU family.
Assalamu alaikum, all the above, sis.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Recording